Notebook, because throughout this course I'll be using Jupyter Notebook for executing the various codes. I hope all of you have downloaded and installed on your systems. And from today onwards, I'll share whatever the class that I'm going to take, the Jupyter Notebook page, I'm going to share it through my Google Classroom in the HTML format, so that you can enter that in your Jupyter Notebook and practice the various operations that we are going to learn in these classes. Okay. And today's topics are, one is variables and the second one is data types. So under variables, I'm going to tell you how to create a variable name, what valid variable names, and then explain how what are the do's and don'ts, what you should include, what you should not include, what is allowed and what is not allowed for creating a variable name. And then I'll also explain what is a global variable and a local variable. Coming to data types, there are some 7 types of data types. Of those, today I'll be covering 3 types of data: numeric, string, and list. So with this, let me go take you to the Jupyter Notebook and start the variables. Okay. So how to start the Jupyter Notebook? Yesterday I have explained it. Go to. Are you able to see the windows?
No, illa ma'am, just we are seeing that presentation.
ಅಲ್ಲೇನೋ ಬೇರೆ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ. Share. This. Now I think you can see.
Yeah.
So go to the start and go to Anaconda and then click on the Jupyter Notebook, or click on the Jupyter Notebook, or you can type Jupyter Notebook here and pin it to the taskbar. So here now, since I have already pinned it to the taskbar, it is going unpinned from taskbar. Otherwise, it will be pinned to taskbar. So you click on this so that you will get the icon on your taskbar. So when I click on that icon, it will open, this window will open. This window will open where you will see when the Jupyter Notebook has started, and that you can, once that is started, it will open a web browser like this with the address localhost 888/3, and sometimes it will be different. Okay, most of the time it will be 4x8/3. Okay, so now since already I have created the notebook page for variables, so that I'll share now. You are seeing my screen, Jansi?
Yes ma'am, ಹೇಳಿ ma'am.
ಇವಾಗ Jupyter Notebook ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ?
Yeah ma'am, ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ma'am.
Okay.
Yes ma'am.
Okay. So
variable names, Jupyter variable names.
Okay.
Okay.
I have created a blank one with different topics that I'm going to cover. I'll explain directly in this notebook. This is named as variable names, and today's date I have put. Let me tell you what is a variable name. So all data are stored in memory in the computer, and the location of the data is identified by means of a name, and that is called variable name. So in Python, variable name can be written by just using a single letter like this, X. If you simply write X, it is not a valid variable name until you assign some data to it. So X is equal to 2. So if I press X is equal to 2, so this creates a location in the memory where data 2 is stored, and that location is identified the variable name X. So this equal sign is an assignment operator which assigns the variable name X now indicating a memory location. In that memory location, the variable data 2 is stored. And similarly, I can, whether this is a valid one or not, you can check it by running this cell. Just either press this button here, run, or press shift and enter simultaneously, shift enter. So let me use this button now. So this indicates that already I have used this notebook sufficient number of times, and this is the 16th time this cell is being, this 16th operation that is performed in this. Instead, if you want to start from 1, I'll restart the kernel, restart and clearing all the outputs. Okay, so this will restart using this, this becomes blank. So if I run it, I'll get 1 in that. Okay, sorry, this it was not in this cell. So when I run this cell, it is executed. And since no error message, this is a valid variable number. To check whether X is having 2 or not, you use a output statement, which is print X. Print is a function which gives the output, and then run it. So now I'll press, hold press, and then press enter. So now whatever the output that it has given is the value of X. Okay. So next, that is how we create variable names. But what are the cautions we have to take? So variable names are case sensitive. So suppose if I write a number is equal to say 5, NUM, all small letters. This is a variable name created with all small letters is equal to 5. So if I print num, it will give 5. Suppose if I print num with capital capital N in the beginning, then what happens? It will give an error, which is a name error, where it indicates that name num is not defined. Here, this num is different from the num that I wrote here in this cell with all small letters. Okay, so it is case sensitive. So you should be very careful when you use the variable names. Same name, by mistake, if you type one of the letter as capital, it will treat it as a different name. Okay. So, and when you write the variable names, you can use capital letters A to Z, small letters A to Z, and also underscore also. But you cannot start the variable name with a number. Say, for example, I'll start 4 num is equal to say 5 or 6. Okay. So I've written a variable name which is starting with a number. Now, if I execute this cell, hold shift and enter it, it will give a invalid syntax. You just see the indication here. It is pointing towards the starting of this variable name, indicating that there is something you have to look into at the beginning of the variable name, which makes it an invalid variable name. So you cannot use a number at the beginning of the variable name. So, but you can start with upper letters or lower letters. Even underscore also is a valid operator here. Underscore num is equal to say 9. Then I'll ask it to print underscore num. Okay, so it will give us the 9. So underscore can be inserted either at the beginning or in the middle. And here numbers cannot be at the beginning of the variable name, but it can be at the end or in the middle of the variable name. Say for example, num 4. This is a valid variable name. So if I print num 4, so it will give. Okay. And you can even have it at the middle also. That is taken it as a valid variable name. So underscores usually used in the beginning of the variable name or in between the variable name. Usually at the end it will not take. We try to avoid using underscores because it is used as one of the internal operator, which I'll explain it in the future classes. Okay. So variable names can only contain alphanumeric characters, that is A to Z, capital A to Z, small letters, and 0 to 9, and also underscores. Okay. But you cannot use some reserved keywords. What are reserved keywords? So to get the reserved keywords in the Python, you just type help within bracket and within quotes keywords and run this cell. You will get a list of keywords which are used for a particular purpose. For example, true and false are the result of some logical operations, whether the previous operation has resulted in a true or false, and is a logical operation. And similarly, class, continue, all these, you should avoid using these words as variable names. Okay, so these are called reserved keywords. And white space also not only. What is white space? White space means just a space. You cannot have a space in between the name or at the beginning of the name. For example, space now. Let me check whether this takes it. Okay, at the beginning it takes. Suppose I make it as my num. Now I have created a space between my and num. Let me check whether it takes it. Okay, this gives an invalid syntax. Instead, I can use either underscore here to make the give a clarity to the variable name. Now it will take. It is not defined because I have not, unless something is assigned to the variable name, it will not take it as a variable name. So now let me assign some value to it. So now this is a valid variable name. By printing, I can check whether that variable name contains the data that I have assigned to it or not. Okay, so white spaces are not allowed in the variable name. And then special characters are also not allowed. Special characters like exclamatory marks, at, hash, dollar, percentage, all these are not allowed. So let me check whether it allows it up. So the $num. I'll create a variable name as $num that is equal to 7. Then I'll ask it to print $num. Okay. So this gives an invalid syntax since a special character is used. And similarly, I cannot use even my dash num. Okay. This also gives, cannot assign an operator. See, this takes it as a minus. So you cannot assign it. Minus is an operator, arithmetic operator. So I cannot use that also in the variable name. So next I can assign the data to a single variable name. I can assign multiple assignments. That is for different variable names, I can assign single object or data. Say for example, A, comma, B, comma, C is equal to 2. So this is not taking like this. Instead, A is equal to 2, B is equal to 2, and C is equal to 2. So now I have assigned the same data to 3 different variables. So this is possible because even though data is same memory location, but it is identified by 3 different names. Okay. And single value to, so that is what is called a single value to multiple variables. And multiple assignments means you can take 2 variables, A, B, and also C, and assign the values different data. Okay. A, B, C, A, comma, B, comma, C is equal to 3, 5, 7. That means in the order it will assign. A will be assigned 3, B will be assigned 5, and C will be assigned 7. So let me print in the same order A, comma, B, comma, C. So it is printed on the same line. So in an order A, B, C. That is how it has been assigned. And even you can even print these values with the assignment variable name also. How to do it? print, write the variable name as string and give a space and then equals. This is the string, and what it has to type in that, the data contained in the memory location A. So same thing I'll repeat for B and C. Okay, copy pasted and just change it to B. And similarly, C. Now I'll run this cell. You see here, A is equal to 3. That is how what we have assigned. B is equal to 5 and C is equal to 7. So A space equals is taken as a string and it is printed as it is. And the remaining, whatever the value contained in the variable name A, B, C are printed and different lines. Because I have given different print statements, it has printed in different lines. Single value to multiple variables. That is what we have done here. Single value to multiple variables. You can check. Okay, single value to multiple variables. Or you can write it as A is equal to B is equal to C equal to 2. Let me check whether this is taken. Okay, so this is taken. So you can print A, then print B, print C, and run the cell. You will find that A, B, C all are same value, but it is assigned in a single line like this. Then multiple objects to multiple variables. So as is done here, A, B, C are assigned different things, and this is the thing. Suppose if we have a single variable but two data, then what happens? Let us check. It will take that data in the form of a tuple, that is, it will enclose it within curved brackets and assign it to A. So now this is not a single number. Instead, A is containing we call it as tuple. That I'll explain when I take the data type. So when I print this A, it is given within bracket 100 and 200 here. That is what I have written here. And I have also given a print statement here to find out what is the type of A. So it is giving it as it is a class belonging to tuple. Okay. So similarly, suppose if there are 3 data and only 2 variables, too many values to unpack. So now it has to unpack this. When such a situation arises, we have to deal it with a different notation. And similarly here, now variable names are more than the data. This also gives an error, not enough values to unpack it. So suppose if that is the situation, then what we have to do is you give the data in the form of a tuple and assign it to different variables with some of the data in the form of a list. Say, for example, here I have created a variable named T, and this is a tuple consisting of 5 items 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have given 3 variable names which have to be assigned data from this tuple, and I have given a asterisk for this A. So what happens if I print A, B, C and also print what is the type of this variable A, B, and C given here? If I execute this cell, you will understand here that B and C are assigned independently, individually, starting from the end of this tuple. So last element 4 is assigned to C, 3 is assigned to B, and the remaining elements are assigned as a list to the variable name, which is having this asterisk. Okay. So when I ask you to type the type of this A, you find here it is giving it as a list, and the remaining 2 variables B and C are given as integers. So I can change this asterisk from A to B and C. Let us see what happens. Instead of giving it to A, I'll make this as B. Now if I execute the same program, so what happens? A is assigned 0 and C is assigned 4, and in between whatever is left out is assigned as a list to the variable name with the asterisk. So instead of to B, if I give it for C, I'll just copy this and add a cell below this and paste it, but change this asterisk to C. Okay, and execute this cell. You will see that A and B are at the beginning. So the beginning numbers 0 is assigned to A, 1 is assigned to B, and the remainings are assigned to C as a list. So you will find that the type of the variable name A is integer, B is integer, and the last one is the list. Okay. And this you can do, this adding this asterisk to only one of the variable names, not more than one variable names. That is what you have to remember here. And see, this is a cell where I have written some information, can add asterisk to only one variable. So if I execute this cell, what happens? You will get an error. But this is the information that I want to give it to you. So I'll make it as a comment line. How to make it as a comment line? Just add a hash at the beginning of the line that makes this line as a comment line. Now, if I execute it, it will not execute this line. It will not consider it as a code. It just keeps it as a comment line. Okay. So that is about the variable names and how you should form the variable name, proper valid variable names. And these things are about if there are number of data more than the number of variable names, how to assign them to the variable names that are given. So some of the valid variable names I have listed here. Say for example, Ramarao with all letters in small case, assigned with the data 5. And this is also a valid variable name. So how to check it? Just run that cell, shift enter. You will not get any error, means it is a valid one. So similarly, in Ramarao, if I make R capital in both Ram and Rao, this is also a valid variable name. Or I can separate this Ram and Rao by means of an underscore, that also results in a valid variable name. So you observe one more thing here, starting from the beginning. Whichever cell I have executed, it is giving a number to that. So this cell I executed the second time, so that number is here. And then I executed this cell, so this is the number 3, 4. Like this in a consecutive manner, it continues numbering these input lines. So like that, I have come to this line where now this is the 30th line, which is a comment line. Okay. And this is the 33rd line. And we can have an underscore at the beginning of the variable name. That is also a valid name. And all letters in uppercase also is a valid name. And having a number at the end of the end or even at the in between also is a valid name. Okay. So these are all valid variable names. So let us see some invalid variable names. Here, same Ramarao is written with a 9 at the beginning of the variable name. So this is an invalid variable name. When you execute that cell, you get an invalid syntax, and there is an indication here where that invalid is occurring. So at the beginning of the variable name, this is coming. So it is an invalid. Here I have used an operator minus sign. So this is also an invalid variable name. Here I have included a space, white space. That is also an invalid variable name. So like this, you have to identify what are valid variable names and what are invalid variable names. Now let us take what is a global variable. So when we define, see in Python, we can generate our own functions by defining the function, and what that function has to do after defining the function, you give the code what that function has to do. Here is a simple example where I am assigning 5 to the variable x, and then I'm defining a function named myfunc. So myfunc with a blank parenthesis here. And what does this myfunc do? It will print the value of this variable after adding 10 to that. Okay. So these two lines are the function definition. And then you also observe here when the define function starts, define myfunc, it will start from the first column, but the next line has to have an indentation, that is one tab spacing with respect to the previous line. Okay, so this is called indentation. If you don't do that, you will get an error. Okay, so this one tab is equivalent to 4 white spaces. Okay, so now after defining this function, after coming out of this defining function, I'll ask it to give the myfunc value by giving this statement like this, myfunc. Okay, so what it gives, let me execute this cell. So initially I have initialized the variable x with 5, and I have defined a function where it will take that 5x and add 10 to it, and then gives the output as the myfunc value, that is 10 plus 5 is 15. Okay, here x is a global variable. That means wherever you take x, it will take x value as 5 and does the things. Instead, you can even make the x take a different value within this definition by defining a local variable for that. So for example, here, before defining the function, the variable x is having 5 as the data in it. And within this definition of function, I'll assign a different value to that x. Here, it is a global variable, and I am defining x, assigning x a different value, 20 to x, within this function definition code. So whatever remaining numerical computations that I do, it will consider the value of x as whatever is defined within this definition of function. So here I have given a statement, print x plus 10. So for x here, it will consider the local variable 20. Okay. So after considering 20 and doing this operation, that is add 10 to that, and then coming out of that definition, if I ask it to print what is myfunc, it will give 20 plus 10. And I have also given a print x. Here, this x refers to the global x is equal to 5. So when I ask it to print x here without the tab, it will print 5. And for myfunc, it will print whatever has happened here within the definition of the function. So now let me execute this cell. So this print statement, which is within the defining statement of the function, has printed 30. And the print statement outside the defining function has printed 5. So here in this example, this is the global variable. So in whatever you do after coming out of this function, if you take x, it will always take x value as 5 because that is the global variable. And within this function, whatever you do with x, that will take x is 20 because I have assigned 20 to that x. Even though the names are same, they will have the data either 5 or 20, depending on whether it is in the global state or the local state. So here is another example where the x is global variable here, and I have assigned 20 to that. And I don't want to change it to a local variable. So I want to keep it as a global. So while defining the function, I'll define global x. And even if I don't define global x also, it will take the same value unless I give a separate value to the text within this function definition. Okay. So this will give, I must get 30 for this because 20 plus 10. Here, there is another situation where x is equal to 20. Global variable x is having data 20, but within this definition, I'm defining x as global, but I'm assigning x is equal to 50 and asking to print x plus 10. And when I come out of that, what is the value of this my func calculated in this part of the code, and what is the value of print x? With this is definitely is going to be 20, but here it has to be 50 plus 10, 60. Okay. So here, even though x is global, I have written as global. Since I am assigning a different value within this function definition, this x is treated as a local, and whatever happens within this, it will take the value for x as 50, not as 20. Okay, that is about variables. Is it clear? Can anyone answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll move on to the next topic.
Ma'am, in between,
Ah.
you can ask the questions to the students where at least you can see the part.
Okay, okay. Where
Because whether they're understanding, we have to come to know.
Okay.
Mm.
I'll type something and then ask the question.
Yeah,
okay?
ma'am. So, dear students, please, while madam is teaching, if you have any questions, raise a hand and ask the questions. And if you have any doubts, clear there and there itself. Don't carry the questions because you need to submit your assignments. Everything will be like you need to submit an online quiz also. So practice well, and if you have any doubts, you ask here itself. Yes. Can you hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Likita.
Yes. Yes, Nischita.
No, Likita.
Huh?
Likita.
Likita.
I'll unmute her thing.
Yeah, ma'am.
Ask to unmute, it is given. I think she only has to unmute.
Yeah, Likita.
Likita, unmute your audio and answer this question. I have typed here my dash list. Is it a valid variable name? Likita is not in front of the system. What about Mandara? Silva?
Mandara.
Kiran Kumar?
Yes.
Kiran Kumar, you are here?
It is invalid, ma'am.
Invalid.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Who is answering?
Kiran Kumar.
Kiran Kumar.
Kiran Kumar. Oh, okay. It is invalid name?
Yes, ma'am.
Variable. Okay, good. That means you are following. Let me
Good,
execute
Kiran.
that.
Keep it up.
My is not defined. Okay, because I have not assigned any value to it. Let me assign some value and then execute. Then also, you cannot assign an operator to this because minus is an operator. Okay.
Nischita has raised her hand. Just ask a question to Nischita.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in 43rd.
43 line number up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In last sentence, print x, it should print 20, no, ma'am, because it is a global value.
Global value. But here I have defined whatever is within this x is global. Now this is not a valid global now. That is overruled by this name, global x. Yes, it's a good question. If I don't have this, suppose I'll make it as a comment line and run it, what happens? I'll get 20 because by default, this is the global variable. Okay. Now I want to overrule that. That is why I have written global x within this function definition. Got
okay,
it?
ma'am.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
So this statement overrules the default global variable. That is why it has printed 50. Followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other question?
Ma'am,
Okay.
excuse me, ma'am.
You also tell your name.
It's Rakshit.
Rakshit, ma'am.
Rakshit.
Rakshit. Okay, tell.
Ma'am, how do we know to give tabs, ma'am, that space? How do we know it
that
should be specific?
you will know it in future. See, whenever you want to define a function, or whenever you want to have some loop, say for loop, for x varying from 1 to 10, do some operation. That do some operation has to have a tab. Okay. So that for will start from the beginning, but next line we have to give a tab. Okay. Suppose if I don't give a tab here, what happens? You get an error. Expected an indented block. This global has to be within the indented block. Followed? As we move on to the other operators, no, for loop, while loop, and then if statements, there you will understand the necessity of this tab. Okay. Followed?
Yes,
Okay, ma'am.
Rakshit.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions?
Ma'am, Manjit, ma'am.
Yeah, tell Manjit.
Ma'am,
Ma'am.
what's the difference between
Bit
list
louder.
and tuples? Ma'am, actually, I'm getting confused. Like how to use which one to use?
How to?
How to use list and tuple, ma'am? Where to use which
Yeah,
one?
I have not come to that data types. That is my next topic now.
Ma'am,
I'm only
actually,
telling, huh?
it taught here just above, so I got confused.
That
That's
is
why.
because here, no, in this line you are telling tuple and list.
Yes, ma'am.
No, this is only an example for variable assignment, and you don't worry about tuple or list here. My next topic is the list. My next topic today, I'm not going to cover tuple. List I'm going to cover. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Shall we move on to the next part?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, any students, any other doubts?
No.
No.
All right. Yes, ma'am. You can move on, ma'am.
Okay. Next is data types. So there are 7 data types: numeric, string, list, tuple, dictionary, set, and there is one more, null. Okay. So these are the different data types in Python, and today I'll cover the first 3 types. So what is numeric data? So Python supports 4 different numerical type data. So one is integer, a signed integer. You know, integer is a whole number, and then float, decimal point numbers, floating point real values are float, and then complex. Complex numbers are represented with the imaginary part with a j. A plus, say 2 plus 3j is a complex number. And then bool. So this is a categorical number, categorical data under numeric, where the result of operation is resulted in some categorical statement like either true or false. Okay, so that I'll explain I'll share the Jupyter notebook now. So numeric. So numeric, see, have a valid variable name, then assign the data. So data may be numeric value. So this is 5 is an integer. Then my num, one more variable name with one capital letter here. For that I am assigning a real value. Okay. So when I execute this, so print statement is printing integer value first and the real value next. Okay. So how next complex number. So a is equal to 2 plus 3j. So this is a complex number. 2 plus 3j is assigned to the variable name a. Then I'm asking it to print a, and also type, what is the type of this a, whether it is integer, float, or complex. If I execute that, it will print both the value assigned to a and also the type of a. See, The first one is print A, 2 plus 3j. The next one is what is the type of this A? What type of data is it? It is complex. Similarly, here also I can ask it to print type my underscore num. So what is it? First one with all small letters with an underscore in between. This is an integer data. Then I'll ask it to print the last one, my underscore capital num. Not just the value, it is the type of it. You must be careful about the parenthesis. Okay, float. So the last one is float, this one is integer. Okay, we can find out what is the type of the data by just typing type and then date name of that data within the bracket like this. So now I have assigned a boolean result here, true to the variable name B. Then I'll ask it to print what is the type of this B. So this is belonging to bool numeric data. Okay. Next, coming to string. String is data which is containing a set of characters. So here I have taken a variable name month and I have assigned a string to it. That string has to be enclosed within quotes. The quotes may be either single quotes or double quotes. I've used a double quote here and month is equal to, I've written January. Okay. So if I ask it to print the month, I'll execute this cell. It's printing what is the data assigned to this month, that is January, which is a string data. This string data, we can access each character of this string data by pointing using an index. See, this will have index assigned, positive index from left to right and negative index from right to left. So the first letter is assigned index 0, second one is 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay. So there are how many letters? 7 letters are there. So they will be assigned index from 0 to 6. So if I want to find out what is the first letter, I'll ask it to print month. Then this index has to be enclosed within the square bracket. So I've written the index 0. So what I should get here, print month 0 means the 0th index letter, whatever it is, that has to be printed by this. Okay. So that is how we can access a single character. So you can give a different value here. If I give 3, what I should get? 0, 1, 2, 3. That is U. Okay. So execute this, you get U. Suppose I want a set of characters starting from some index to ending at some index. Then I can give those index like this. Month within square bracket 1:4. So here what happens? It starts from the index 1 but stops at an index which is upper limit minus 1. That is from 1 to 3 it will collect the characters and print. So what is the first letter with index 1 is A, then 2, then 3, A, N, U. It has to print A, N, U by this. Okay, print month within square bracket from 2 indexes, but 2 index is excluded. Okay, so that is how the string variable and how we can even access it. Next, coming to list. So list is an ordered set of items and items are separated by comma and they are enclosed within the square bracket, and we can have duplicate items in the list, and not that a list must have a same type of data, not that it must have all integer or all float or all string. We can have combination of all the 3 types of data as a list. So let me form a list, name list1 is equal to. So initially, let me take a list with a single type of data, say all odd numbers, even numbers, from 2 to 8, I have formed as a list, and that is list 1. So we can, so this is an ordered items. Okay, so orders are not changed and they are separated by comma, enclosed within square bracket. And we can even have duplicate items in this list. So I have duplicated this 8. Okay. And next example, I'll take the different types of data within the list. So now how to access, so this list, whether it is valid or not, run this list cell. So since it is no error in this, no output has given. Instead, if I also give a statement, print list 1, it will print the list. What are the items in that list in the same order? To access an element or item in the list, you just give the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 from left. And it also has a negative index starting from the rightmost end. Rightmost end is -1, then -2, -3, -4, -5 like this. So let me access the items using both the methods. Print list 1, and then within square brackets, I'll ask it to take the print the element, the 6. What is the index for this 6? 0, 1, 2. Okay. So it will print the 6. Let me use a negative index. I will copy the same thing, but change it to -2. Okay. So now what is the element item with -2 index? From the rightmost end, this is -1, this is -2. So I must get 8. Followed. So let me add some more cells. Okay. This is about list, and I can even find out some basic operations on list. I can find out what is the length of the list. So this is the list that I have created. My list is equal to 2468. Then to find out what is the length of the list, what is the length of this list? Length of the list means how many items are there in the list. 2468, 4 items are there. So when I give the statement len my list, it has to give me the answer as 4. Okay. So my list contains 4 items. Similarly, here I did not give the mixed list. No. Okay. Anyway, it's here. My list, I have created a list with both string, integer, and float values. And one of the string is repeated also. Okay. So what is the length of this list? Repeated items are also taken as separate items. So length of this list is 2 + 2 + 1, that is 5. Okay. So when I execute this, I'll get it as 5. So next operation on list is concatenation. Suppose if I have 2 lists, then I can add concatenate, that is just combine them and make it as a single list. So now I have my list. What is this small letter my list? Already defined as 2468. And then capital my M, my, and capital L list. This list is having RAM, SHAM 45, 66.6 and RAM. And if I concatenate by making use of this operator plus, it is not the arithmetic operator here. Instead, it is a concatenation operation. So if I execute this, you will find that both the lists are combined to form a single list. So first 4 elements are belonging to my list, this small letter, and the next elements are belonging to the next list, my list. Okay. So that is the concatenation operation. Next, repetition. Suppose I want to repeat a certain item in the list certain number of times. Say x is equal to, so I have created a list with a string RAM and I want to duplicate it 4 times. So it is done by means of this x asterisk 4. So you get a list with the same item 4 times. Okay. So that can be done with the other type of data also. This is a float data where I'm repeating it 3 times. Okay. So that is the repetition. Then membership. So whether a particular item is present in that list or not, we can check by using this item name, then in, and then the list name. Okay. So here I have created a list. List is equal to, it is having the same concatenated list of the previous example, 2468, then RAM, SHAM, 45, 66.6, and RAM. I want to check whether RAM is in the list. Okay, so take that string RAM in list. So if I execute this, true means it is present in that list. Okay, so instead of RAM, I'll take it 45. Is 45 in the list? It is there in the list, so I must get a true value. Suppose if I give a value which is not in the list, then I must get a false. Understood? So this 44 is not in this list. So is 44 in list? No. So it is false. Then let us see whether how we can add an item to the list. So here one way of doing it is append, by using append. So this append will add the item to the end of the list. Okay. So let me take this example of my list is equal to 2468. 2468. And I want to add an item at the end of the list, that is an item or data 100 at the end of this list. Then I can use this append in this format, my list dot append, then within curly brackets 100. So what does this do? Sorry, I have to execute this also, otherwise my list will be whatever I have in the previous executions. Okay, then print my list. So if I don't print it, it will not give the answer. It just appends and keeps it. So this print my list will print whatever the updated list. So along with 246, right? 100 is added to the end of the list. Suppose I want to add the item not at the end, at a particular location. So sometimes I want to add it by indicating which location in the place of index 1, I want to have this 100 or like that. Okay. So that cannot be done using append. Instead, that can be done using insert. So how to use it? So let me once again run this cell so that I have the original list. Now, if I don't do that, I will have this list with 100. Okay. So now my list dot insert. First, you give the index number and then give the data you want to insert in that index. Okay. So here insert within curly bracket 2, 100. 2 indicates the index, which is the place of the index 2 in this list. 0, 1, 2, that is 6. So in place of 6, I have to put 100. Okay. Then print the my list. So in place of 6, 100 has come, but 6 has moved to the next position. Okay. Now it is having 5 elements in addition to the previous one, but 100 is inserted into a location with an index 2. Okay. That is about how to add element to the list. Then how to remove. Remove we can do by using this method remove. Okay. So these are called methods. Remove, pop, all these are called methods. Whereas print is a function. So remove removes the specified item from the list. You have to specify the item itself. Say for example, print my list. So I'll again print this, execute this cell. So when I print my list, now my list is having this 100 in its position 2, but I want to remove 8. So 8 is removed. After removing 8, whatever the remaining, that is these 4 elements are given in the updated my list. Okay, 2, 4, 106. So that is removing an item. You can even remove it using a pop method. So this pop method will pop out the value, and also it prints the updated list. See here, this is the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is my list 1. and I'll pop out the value indicated by the index 2. Okay. So what is the index 2? 0, 1, 2. That is the element 3. Item is 3, which is pointed by the index 2. So 3 is removed and the updated list is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't contain that element 3. Okay. So next method is clear. So the clear with curly bracket with a blank. This will clear the whole list. It will remove all the items of the list and prints a blank list. Okay, now let me take this list 1, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then list 1 dot clear will make the list a blank list like this. So this indicates a blank list. And delete removes the particular item which is indexed by the del. Okay, so here list 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I will give del list 1 and the index. So you must remember this. So here and all this remove, pop, they were given with a after the variable name dot, whereas this del then space list 1 then index. So what is the item with index 3 is 4. Okay, this I must get a list without the 4. The list 1 without 4. Okay, so that is about list and the various operations that are performed on the list. How we can modify the list, and how we can access, how we can concatenate, how we can find out the length of the list, all these things. Okay, so that is about today's class. And if you have any doubt in this data types, you can raise. Anyone? Otherwise, I'll ask a question. Yes, can anyone answer this? I have a list x is equal to 1, 2, 3. What is the item with this index? X of 1?
2.
2.
Okay. Suppose if I give, what it will do? X
2, 3.
2 colon 3. What it does? I'll also give a print statement here. Make it as a print. Print x within square bracket 1 colon 3.
It takes the value from index number 1 to index number 3.
Is index number 3 available here?
2.
No.
No. Then what it does? I did not tell, but at least can you guess?
Array out of one index.
Ma'am, it is
Zero.
minus
Will
1,
it
ma'am.
give an error message?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Array
Shall
out
I-
of one index.
So you will get an error message, array out of index. Shall I run
No,
this
ma'am.
cell?
Will get 0.
No, ma'am.
It will not give error, ma'am.
Then what
When?
it is?
It prints 2 and 3, ma'am, because last number is 2 minus 1, ma'am.
Okay. 3 minus 1. That is 2.
3 minus 1.
Okay, good. Shall I run this? That is the answer. Okay. Last index is 3, but it will stop at 3 minus 1. So it will take the index 1 and 2 and types it. Suppose if I make it, I'll put it in a separate one, copy and paste it. See, this is not out of the array because always upper limit is excluded. Okay. It stops at a value 1 less than the upper limit that is given. So now I'll give a value here 5. Is index 5 existing in this list?
No,
No.
ma'am.
No.
No,
Then
ma'am.
what it will print?
Gives an error, ma'am.
Error.
All of you agree that it gives an error?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Huh?
Yes,
Shall I
ma'am.
run this?
Yes, ma'am.
Still it is printing 2 and 3 only. So whatever value here you give upper limit, once the list is over, it will ignore the remaining values. It will print whatever the last, up to the last value it will print. So even if I give the upper limit as 100, it will stop at the value 3, because even though it will not consider the remaining indexes, because the list is closing at this point. Understood? That is the difference. You don't get an error for this. Followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That is a note you have to make. And I think I'll have some more details about this. Some more operations I'll explain. So this is the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To access 3, 4, and 5. See, I want to make a list of 3, 4, and 5 in this. So what I should give? Print list 1, then within square bracket, what I should give? 3, 4, 5.
2, 3.
2 is
2 is to
2
3 is
colon
to 4.
5.
5, huh? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5, because 5 is excluded. 2, 3, 4 are the indexes. So it has to print from 2 to 4. So I must give one higher than the index that I want to stop at. Followed? So this will print a list containing the items that I have specified from and to. Okay. So suppose I want to start from the beginning of the list. What I should do?
0 colon
0 colon 5.
5.
Okay. Or I need not even specify the starting point. See, either you can make it as 0, 5, or you need not specify the starting point. Just give a colon 5. It is understood that it is starting from the beginning of the list. You have to pick up the elements up to 4. Follow? This also gives you the same result.
Ma'am, what if the value is negative? I mean, -5.
No problem. This data can have signed integer and floats, then string. Is it not? Did I not tell you at the beginning? It can have mixed data. I did not take a negative value here. So let me take a negative value. So list 3 is equal to, say, -10, comma, 100, comma, some arbitrary, comma, -20.5 float, comma, then some strings. Okay. So this has a mixed data type. Okay. So let me print list 3. Got all the values. Now I want to access list 3. Then no problem. You want to include from beginning to some value 0, 1, 2. That is colon 3. What result we have to expect? First 3 numbers. Is it not? -10,
Yes.
100, and 90. Okay. That is, I have not specified the end here. Sorry, starting point here. So that can also be done if you want to print, if you want to extract up to the end, starting from some index. So let me take the same statement here, type, copy, paste it. So instead of this beginning to 3, I'll give a starting index 3 and up to the end. If you want to print up to the end, what is the item with the third index, index 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. That is minus 25. And the remaining, even if the list is big, up to the end, I want to pick up. So if I execute that, I'll get this minus 20.5 and the last item done. Followed? Suppose I want to access all starting to end. What I should do? What I can do? Can you have a guess?
Just colon, ma'am.
Just colon. Okay. Has it done? Got all the items? That is beginning also not specified means it has to start from 0. End is not specified means it has to go up to the end of the list. Any other doubts? If no other doubt means we will conclude today.
Yes, dear students, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No?
Yes, Manasa, yes, any doubts?
No.
No.
ma'am.
No. Okay, then I'll conclude for today. Tomorrow we shall continue. By that time, now itself, I'll share these 2 pages in the HTML format through my Google Classroom. You take that and practice it. When you practice it, don't copy paste this code and practice it. That will be of no use to you. Instead, type this code and practice. So when you type it, you will know what mistakes you will do. And when mistakes are generated, what error message you will get, you will understand. So the best way to learn a programming language is to type yourself and then run the code. Okay. So you practice whatever has been explained today and try to explore more out of it. Unless you explore more and you limit yourself only to this, what is taught in the class, it will be of no use to you. Okay.